Hello, good
Hello.
morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whichever part of the world you might be watching us from. This afternoon, I have the pleasure to interview Sunita Ranjan, a life skills expert coming to us from India. Sunita is an adept psychologist and master life skills trainer with a decade of experience in the area of life skills and behavioral enhancement training. She has a lot of acumen in designing and developing content in life skills, as well as in developing training programs and preparing training manuals on life skills. Sunita is a positive thinker. She's self-driven and passionate in what she does. She designs training modules, as I've said, for varied target groups and curriculum development for schools and colleges. Our research interests include life skills, as you would imagine, positive psychology, and mindfulness. She has previously worked with the government of India, where she served as an assistant professor of life skills education with Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development. Unfortunately, Sunita, I'm not able to pronounce Siriper Budur. When you
That's,
come on, kindly
that's
help us pronounce that word. But the school is located in Tamil Nadu. Currently, Sunita is the vice president of the Indian Association of Lifeskills, IALSE, and she is a founder member of that particular association. Uh, the Indian Association of Life Skills is a registered body under the Tamil Nadu Societies Registration Act of 1975. I am sure that when we start the conversation, Sunita will tell us a little bit more about this association that she helped found, as well as the association that she is the vice president. Uh, Hosting this particular conversation is none other than Naom Ondicho, a member of Jaslika Consulting. Over to you, Sunita. You will tell us a little bit more about yourself and about the Indian Association of Life Skills Association before we get into life skills education. Welcome.
Thank you, Naom. And again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to one and all who will be, viewing this and listening to this. I would like to thank Dr. Sheila from Jaslika Consulting for giving me this opportunity for a conversation. To share on perspectives on life skills and to know more also what is happening around the globe in this particular area. So, Naum, as you said, the first question, basically to understand, I would just briefly talk about myself and about the association. So, myself, Sunita, I am from India and from a city called Chennai, and which is in a state called Tamil Nadu, and where I did my schooling and my college, and after which got married, and after that is when I started to actually study further and go behind my passion. So my passion has always been to try to understand people and interact with people more. So that's when I have done my psychology, my masters, and I have just completed my PhD, my doctoral, and submitted my thesis on life skills again. And
Congratulations.
okay, thank you. I'm yet to be awarded the degree, but I've just completed the formalities of submitting the thesis.
You will be awarded.
Okay, so that's with my education part of it, and my journey with my career started off a little late in 2005 when I was working for a career guidance company called Young Buzz India Limited, and then from then on I've been doing some training programs, and in 2008 was when my first association with Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, where they were actually planning to start programs, because Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development is a youth university run by the government of India under the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. So their aim was to actually try to promote youth development, and they were looking for master degree programs which will focus on youth development. And that was when Dr. Radhakrishnan Nair, who was the head of the department of this School of Life Skills Education, came about with this program of master degree program, a full-time program on life skills education. And I had enrolled for it, and I mean, I had submitted my papers and for an interview, and I was called. And when that's when I became the assistant professor there for the department. And that is when I think my journey of life skills and the passion for life skills actually came up, grew. And so to tell about a little bit about the background of the university there. So there was a lot of the government had where the government of India, again in India we have a lot of the population of youth is large. So for example, when we talk about India, the population in India is around 135 138 crore. So in that, a significant population is youth. So the programs designed to target their potentialities was focused on. So there began my journey with life skills, coming up with designing curriculum and doing training of life skills to master trainers and even the youth as such. So, and that is also when the journey of starting the Indian Association of Life Skills education also came into being. So that was, again, this association was visioned by Dr. Radhakrishnan Nair, who is the founder member of the association. And the main objective of the association is to bring together people, like minded people, of life skills together, and also to deliberate, to and to take this concept of life skills forward. So that was the objective, and that was when the association also formed. It started with a few people, maybe 10 or 15 people, but today we have around 200 and odd 220 odd life members in the association. It is a small, I would say we are taking baby steps and moving forward, but yes, we have grown. Okay. And the one more objective of the association is to actually to improve the research and also training, so to develop trainers in this area of life skills. So that is my association with the IALSE, which is the Indian Association of Life Skills Education, which is an all India body and which is a non for profit organization. And where this is how my journey started with the association. Okay. And yeah, sorry for the interruption, there was a little, okay. And yeah, and now I'm officiating as its vice president in the organization. So this is the little bit which I can think of as of now.
Thank you, Sunita. When we met in 2018, because I attended a conference that the association had organized in Lucknow in India,
Yes.
you were the secretary then.
Yes.
Now, for the sake of our listeners and viewers, could you kindly let us know what life skills is all about?
Okay. Yes, I do remember, Naom, that when we met for the conference, it was a lovely, it was nice to meet people from all over again and with similar passions. And so when see my perspective of life skills, and I am actually echoing what is the meaning of life skills, how the association is looking at, because the association which I'm talking about actually echoes whatever the founders are trying to portray on the meaning of what is life skills. Okay. So life skills in simple meaning is the the abilities, that is the World Health Organization, of course, those who are in this area will definitely know on what the contributions of World Health Organization in the area of life skills and life skills education. But life skills are basically certain the skills and the competencies required for individuals to face the challenges of day to day life. So as we navigate our life through the challenges, we have to learn to adapt and also use the skills in a way which we balance both the knowledge, our attitude, our behaviors and values to be a good individual with good behavior.
Okay, Sunita, when you are talking about challenges, probably you would give us examples so that we understand these challenges that life skills addresses.
Okay.
Some of these challenges.
Okay, so challenges, again, challenges could be again okay, when we talk about challenges, we have internal challenges, we have external challenges. Okay, so there are certain internal challenges, for example, the our strengths. So maybe, for example, when we may have our communication could be a problem, facing people could be a challenge, working under stressful conditions or meeting to deadlines, these could be some of the challenges. As also we could have maybe even yeah, as I said, working together in a team. So these could be certain challenges which maybe when we are working or even in our day to day life at home, we may have challenges maybe with sibling rivalry, or trying, and especially with adolescents there are different challenges. So they have this identity crisis, or even with friends trying to be they want to be one with them but they are not able to, and the feeling that am I capable of, self doubt. So
Mm,
those also could be the gamut of challenges, again depending from individuals. Society can throw challenges.
sure.
Again, there are possibilities that if there are actually, even in India there are challenges like if you come from a particular race you have been looked down upon. So the
Mm,
even though see, India has gained independence and the freedom, and the freedom fighters have struggled for it, we still face these kind of uh, s- problems even in the villages, which is a part of, when we talk about India, we have the urban population, we have a rural population.
mm,
So around 30 to 40% of India is in the urban population, so a large number of population people are there in the rural population. So so even the environment, the cultural factors, all these things throw their own challenges. So I feel like in every day, everything, whatever we are trying to do, if there is something which stops us from attaining that, that is a challenge for us, right?
okay.
Yeah.
I, I understand. And the challenges that you are talking about in India, uh, basically could be the same challenges all over. We have the same challenges even where I come from. And
Okay.
from
So
what
could
you
you
have
just
said,
say what your challenges? What could be the challenges from your side?
the challenges from our side are many. I would say, for example, currently we are having a challenge of teen pregnancy, especially
Okay.
that has been brought about because of the COVID-19 pandemic. You know,
Okay.
so that is a challenge. And when schools reopen, because our schools are still closed up to January, I am sure that challenge will be visible because quite a number of girls will not be in school. So I understand you right when you say there are varied challenges. And these
Very
challenges, mental, physical, social, name
yes.
them.
Yes.
Now,
Exactly.
coming back to your country, India,
Yeah.
what's the place of life skills education in the Indian education system?
Okay. Now, when talking about India and the life skills education, we know very well that the life skills was there in the West, and after that only it came into India. So in India, I think it came around 1980s or so, when it started. Okay, now there are, when we talk about life skills education, there are three approaches to it, where
Yeah.
one is the competency building approach, the other is a preventive approach, and the third is a resiliency approach. Now, even in world over, when you see, life skills was looked uh, largely as a preventive approach, because again, as you said, there were a lot of challenges everywhere, problems like teenage pregnancy, there was alcoholism, there was drug abuse, there was all these things were there all over, even in India and everywhere. So that
Yes.
is when World Health Organization, all of them, and the other UN organizations had come together on a consensus to understand what is life skills and what can be termed life skills, what is not life skills, in the interagency meeting which was held in Geneva. So keeping to that, so those same similar challenges happened in India. But in, and again, that time when we had, I think, the AIDS and the HIV/AIDS was also a problem in India. So the best way to reach out was through education. So in India, life skills, the life skills came into through education, how they could reach out to the adolescents and youth, and specifically, with this problem. So it was a problem specific approach. And through education, they had tried to, through programs and policies, they tried to, and there were manuals which were developed, and largely with the focus on HIV/AIDS. And later there was this adolescent education program which was commissioned and by the government of India. And the objective of this adolescent education program was to try to, they felt that the present education system was very much only focusing on the knowledge part and not on the social skills or the ability to cope with the challenges which the adolescents were facing. So that is when this the adolescent education program was designed. And but they did not use the term life skills at all. They had, it was basically piggybacked on these problems. So the problems were there, and the approach of life skills was used in order to come up with maybe solutions, or telling them ways in order to giving information. So they were trying to reach out, giving them information, so the knowledge component is taken care of, what are the skills required, and also the behavior, so the attitude component was also put into, so that they have positive behaviors. And even
Thank
in India, they had one. When I think I'll just little more, in India also, because see, initially when they were talking about sex education in these programs, there was a lot of opposition, because the government and many people felt that the children are actually given wrong information. If you see the term like sex education, it may, lead to a different meaning, and because of which there was some, positions. And then it was when it was actually named into adolescent education program. So the connotation, the names were changed, the programs were changed, it was re-looked into, and the content was also looked into, so that, the overall problems of adolescents were focused on. First they focused only on adolescent girls, and then they realized that even boys had problems.
you.
And that was when, they thought about addressing these issues even for boys and girls.
Okay. Uh, from what you have just told us, again, it's not different from Kenya, because
Okay.
initially life skills was incorporated in reproductive under reproductive health education, but
Okay.
around the same time, I think that India was thinking about introducing life skills in the curriculum around 2008. That's when
Yes.
it became a standalone subject, even in the Kenyan education
Okay.
system. So the interest that I would want to get clear, is there a federally approved curriculum, or does each state in India have its own curriculum in as far as the teaching of life skills education is concerned?
Okay, sorry. Could you please repeat? I couldn't get you the question.
Yes, from what you have said, India started teaching life skills education around 2008. And the
Yes.
question I'm asking myself, is there a central, or is there one curriculum, or every state in India has its own curriculum in as far as life skills education curriculum is concerned?
Okay. Now to add on to that, as I told you, the curriculum, it came through education. So we have the Central Board of Secondary Education, the
Yes.
CBSE. Okay. Now the Central Board of Secondary Education, they had designed a component to include life skills in the curriculum, but it is as a standalone, as an add-on kind of a thing, in a co-scholastic manner. Okay, so what was it? So you had the regular classes, and maybe in a weekly once there was given a 40-minute a session, or a class which was devoted to life skills. Now the content development was done, the manuals were prepared, the teachers were trained, but um, see, in the policy level it is all given very neatly, but actually in implementation, I cannot say whether it has been 100% implemented in all the schools properly, because there is a challenge with the teachers, training a huge number of teachers, and that was the training was done in a cascading approach. We had a few teachers who went and did the master level training, and then those teachers again had to teach that program to the others. So there could be a lot of dilution happening, and even the question of evaluation is a question mark. Okay,
Okay.
so what happens is that it started off, but then what if suppose the teachers had some other some other class or exams were nearing, this period which was used for life skills was used by some other teacher, so it was looked upon as only as a free class, and the meaning and the concept of life skills may not have gone exactly to the children, to the adolescents and the students, but in some schools, yes, definitely it has gone the way it should. So it was looked largely, it was used as a subject, a standalone subject, and not integrated into the curriculum. And I feel that is one of the drawbacks, in the proper implementation and evaluation and other things of life skills, with related to education I'm talking about.
I'm smiling at myself, Sunita,
Yeah.
because apparently, even in our situation, uh, most teachers were using that particular life skills lesson to teach
Okay.
actually examinable subjects like maths, subjects that they considered a bit difficult. But the question I'm wondering, target group, which group was targeted for life skills education? Was it primary? Was it high school? Was it college? Who are the target groups when it was introduced in India?
Okay. So the target groups here were the high school students, from 8th standard, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. So that was the target adolescence, actually, when you call it. That was because in India there is we have a youth policy, the Indian youth policy, in which in the policies, whenever once in 5 years, whenever it was made, they had actually specified that life skills has to be there in the for enhancing the capabilities of a youth. And with that in mind, there were these working groups, which there were non-governmental organizations also, I would say, play a more important role than the government itself. So those non-government organizations had were the people who were trying to develop programs and focus on what are the issues, and try to relate to exactly how these life skills could be taken in the best possible way. So the I would that as you based on your question, it is the seventh, eighth standard, and ninth grade students, or the adolescents, which were targeted most, and not the college students at all.
what might have been the reasoning behind targeting that particular group and not primary and not college?
Okay. See, one thing I would say, see, as we see, we're talking about, they knew that adolescents had a lot of challenges. So
Okay.
I feel that was the focus. And so they felt that, okay, children are there, but these people need the priority, right? So I feel on a priority basis, adolescents. And not only that, when we talk about our Indian population, we have a huge youth bulge. So we have that is the people in that category, that section. We have a huge number of population. So
Okay.
what they thought is maybe focusing on them first, so that they become our future citizens.
Okay.
And so that would help to, kind of build in those such the capacities in them, is what I feel. And
Well,
later they may have thought of trying to address the the primary and the college students.
so what you're saying is that now primary and college students are taught life skills. Is
Now,
that the
yes, now what has happened is, yes, there are in various schools. See, now the concept of life skills is actually permeated, and people have understood that it is essential, and they have started giving importance to it. And so in schools, yes, it has been done, or there are people like training organizations or non-government organizations who would actually go to the who would offer programs to the schools. And in that way, children from primary, those who are in the high school, as also in colleges, now they life skills has been added as a credit paper, 30 hours or 15 hours as a credit paper, which is now come into the curriculum. So there's been a lot of change from what it started and now what it is.
there seems to be an emphasis on the role of non-governmental organizations. What is the
Yes.
place of the government in all this?
You mean the best governmental organizations from all these?
No, from what you're saying,
Uh,
it seems to me that a lot of work in terms of the implementation of life skills is done by non-governmental organizations.
yes, exactly. Yes.
Yes, what is the input of the government?
See, I see. I would say now again, as I think, see, now when we say, see, India is a huge country, right? And it is divided into states. Now,
Yes,
the national, at the center, there are certain policies and programs which the government is actually implementing. So it
yes.
will set aside so much crore of money for youth development, and they would design the programs. And then it is the state. Now at the state level, it has to be implemented to, because we have schools which are run by the government, there are schools which are run privately also. So that bifurcation is there. So if a certain programs which the at the center which is being taken, those will be definitely run by the government schools which are there in the states. But there are private schools which do not come under such regulation, not necessarily. So they look out for add, like, they want to add value to give extra to their students. And that depends upon, again, private schools, depending on the who are the children who are coming from what background. So relating to that, they kind of reach out, or the non governmental organizations reach out to these schools and colleges, and they take it up as a personality development program which adds value to the children. So
Thank
I
you.
feel in
Thank
many
you.
states there is a the government, there is a private public partnership which goes on, side by side. And there are these NGOs go hand in hand with the government. And in states, many states, in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, in many states, it does happen that beautifully there are so many programs which go side by side, hand holding. And I think that has really strengthened this concept of life skills as well.
Indeed, private-public partnership is the way to go in, you know, in most countries. Now, are there specific skills that are prioritized by the life skills education?
Okay. When you ask me, I would say, see, according to the World Health Organization, they are talking about the core life skills. Okay, and I would say, like, in India now, when I'm talking about on behalf of my association, which is again, which is an all India body working for life skills. So the association actually focuses on the competency building model of what the World Health Organization has put forth, which means those the core 10 life skills which the World Health Organization has put forth. I would just tell you the 10, so that for whoever would be listening to this, may it may help. So the core 10 life skills which the World Health Organization has put forth is self awareness, empathy, effective communication, interpersonal relationship skills, critical thinking, creative thinking, problem solving, decision making, coping with emotions, and coping with stress. So, the World Health Organization has said that these are the core life skills, and there could be sub skills and others which come uh, under them, but this is the umbrella skills. So if we train, if or the child is educated, so we do a life skills education program with, touching on all these things, and we'll be discussing even the issues and challenges in them and how they use these skills. Any child or any participant would definitely be able to face those challenges in life. So they, once they get an idea of all these umbrella skills, they would know where and when to use. So in the education system, the students get an opportunity to try these skills in a safe environment, so that when they are exposed to any challenge, it becomes a practice and and so that they're able to exhibit these positive behaviors, like being assertive, depending on what the situation is. And the adolescents specifically, are emphasized on problem solving, critical thinking, problem solving, communication, understanding self as an identity, which is the most important life skill. I would say it is the not. I would say, like, even many research and lot of literature says that self awareness is the mother of all life skills. So I go by it 100%.
You have actually answered the other question that I was going to ask you, whether there
Okay.
are specific life skills for particular groups of people, and you have answered that by saying yes, there are specific skills for adolescents. But what about in terms of gender? Maybe there are specific life skills for women, specific life skills for men. I don't know what you would say about that.
Yeah. Yes, as you say, gender sensitization is also a challenge. Okay, and now there are a lot of non-government organizations who are actually who are focusing as this as their focal point, and they take up programs focusing on trying to bring about gender equality and gender sensitization in the among the students, or the whichever the target group that they try to go out and train. So see, the reason being, the government is trying to focus to build the skills for employment. Okay, so that is their main focus. So that is why I guess maybe the umbrella skills have been focused on. And and because there are these umbrella skills only focused on, there are these other people, the private people or the organizations who take up these, who have passion in certain issues, and they take this up forward to try to sensitize the population in these things, try to address these issues. They feel that what is not addressed, they try to definitely address this by different methods of training, etc. Because there is also a lot of there is a part of population which are out of school youth, out of school
Yes.
adolescents, out of school children, out of school youth. So for them, the training, through that is again a challenge. So there are certain non-government organizations working for these children, who are out of school youth and try to reach the programs in for them.
Okay. Uh, we also have people of different ages. We have children, we have the old. I don't know whether there are any specific life skills that would target this particular group of people.
Hmm.
So basically, what I'm asking is that the children, do the middle-aged people as well as the old people require, you know,
Yes,
the same set of skills?
yes. See, as I said, the definition and the literature, the research done, life skills is required for everybody. Actually, we all of us have life skills. All of us have it. So we are born with it. It's the question is what has happened is see in our the as we are as life has progressed, the challenges have become more severe. Okay, the 21st century has a lot of more demands, compared to like earlier. I would say if somebody had studied a particular, maybe a bachelor's degree in commerce, they would get a job easily. Just after you finish your college, you could get a job. But now it is not so. If you finish your bachelor's, you would have to upskill yourself. You should have in your area of expertise, you should have a niche area. You should be expert in that. Plus you should have the other skills. So you should have the technology, you should have the communication, you should have, so you have all these other gamut of skills which you should try to prove in order to get a job. Otherwise somebody else who's got better skills would take the job. So because of this complexity, it is more important for us to focus on and to consciously practice these life skills which we have. So that is what has happened. See, earlier, even when we look at our parents or even the generation above that, our forefathers, all of them had life skills. They were using life skills, starting from, even when we talk about hunting and taking care of children, all these things, all that is again of how to, to live, to face the challenges which were that time. But now challenges have taken a different shape, a different size. And so for that we have to be mindful, we have to be aware, we should know what are the skills that we have. And again, now we are not only talking only about skills, we have to go to the next level of competency. So we have to be really good at it and have a repertoire of these skills for the knowledge, the values, the attitudes, if we have to actually succeed in the 21st century.
I thank you because you are taking us to the past, how things were, and you are trying to relate them to the present. And of course, things have changed, and so we must learn to change with the times if we have to survive in the present century.
Yeah,
I, I,
can I just add on? I just, since you said, is it useful for elderly people, the elderly population? See, even now in the times of COVID, I would say, I think all of us are facing this pandemic. Okay,
yes.
and the way I look at it is that this is the best time for us to evaluate ourselves as to how we are actually coping with situations. Where is our life skills? How best are we adapting to it? What are the challenges that we are facing? How are we managing these things? So for anything, for even for an elderly person, for a small child, or for anybody from any age, I would say life skills is essential, a part of us, so that we are it see I would say it is a skill which is required to coexist with all other skills. So they go hand in hand with others. So you're able to your if you have life skills, you have better employability skills. If you have life skills with maybe something else, it goes hand in hand, is what I would like to add on.
Thank you. At a later stage, we may want to talk about your experience of the pandemic and life skills can assist, how life skills can assist us cope with it. But I just want to put you in an imaginary situation. You
Okay.
are from India And if you traveled to Kenya, are there specific life skills that you would need to make it easy for you to stay in Kenya?
Okay. Yes, I would love anyway. It'll be nice. I can imagine myself anyway coming to Kenya.
Uh,
See, I would say that adaptability.
okay.
Adaptability is the key. You know, wherever we go, adapt to situations, adapt to people. It could be adapting to the food, the climate, everything. So once we are flexible, we don't keep like, you know, this is what I'm going to do. I cannot do anything. I mean, I will do only this and I will not do this. So keeping an open mind, being proactive, being adaptable and flexible is, I think, is the key. You can just go anywhere. And you know, have belief in yourself and be self aware. That awareness of who you are and what you can do, I think, would help.
Thank you. And those are the particular skills that I used when I came to Lucknow for the
Oh, yes.
conference.
Yes,
You know,
because I remember you were a bit you were a bit worried about you getting the visa to come over, isn't it?
sure, sure,
Yes.
sure. And given that it was a totally new setting, especially the food,
Good.
I really needed to adapt, and I did adapt. But the first day it was not as easy. But with the 3 days that I was there, I had to adapt. Now
Okay,
I
so
want
now
to
can
take
I ask you
you.
one question? Since you said you came there, you came to India, I did not get time that time. So what did you find as maybe one takeaway from India? Something which whether you like the place, the weather, the people in that short duration, you know, what actually is a takeaway which you could say?
In the short duration that I was there, 3 days, basically 3 4 days, because the fourth day I left. It was a very welcoming environment that I got,
Mhm.
especially in the conference. Everybody wanted to talk to me. Everybody exchanged their numbers with me,
Lovely.
and we
Yeah.
took photos together, and that
Okay.
was
Yes.
nice.
Yes. Okay.
I still
That's great. That's
memorable
really
time.
great. That's
Yes,
really, because that conference was actually conducted by our now president, Dr. Vinod Chandra, and he's from Lucknow, and he had, he had a lot of guests from all over the world, and you know, hats off to him for conducting that conference. Anyway, the memories on that. Yeah.
I had an invitation for the 2019 conference, but unfortunately, because of work-related challenges, I could not be able to come. I look forward to coming again. I
Yeah,
want
next week.
to take you back to your time at Rajiv. When you were teaching at the Rajiv
Gandhi.
Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development.
Okay.
Now, what specific pedagogies were you using in the delivery of life skills education then?
Okay. At the Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, we had the School of Life Skills Education and Social Harmony. It was named, and so the and there where I was the assistant professor, and my head of the department was Dr. Radhakrishnan Nair. As I told you, he was the one who initiated this life skills education, and so the role of of a teacher or a faculty was to do both teaching as well as training. As I told you, it was an institute. It was a youth institute, and you know, it was under the government. So the focus was to build the competencies of youth, and so the programs, there were n number of programs which were being organized, and in different parts of India. And we used to, as a faculty, like I was given like 3 states, and we used to conduct programs. We means that the organ, that is the institute, would would say that, okay, we would have a 5 day training program. We would prepare the module, etc., and the schedule, and that was a trainer of trainer training module kind of a thing, and 5 days we used to give training. So that was again on the cascading approach, where because we wanted to reach out to large number of people. So and so over there it was both a lot of knowledge and resource building with related to life skills. And the institute had a fantastic library on life skills, all the books related to life skills. But now, unfortunately, that department is closed. The School of Education is closed. The School of Life Skills Education is closed. It's no more functioning because, again, changes in the government setting, and the focus has changed. So there was a lot of both teaching and training, which gave a very holistic development. And actually, when you talk about the true meaning of education, the true meaning of education is actually a holistic development of an individual,
Mm.
which the education system which was happening in India did not actually focus on. It was largely focused on the rote method. And this concept of both life skills education and this teaching gave a holistic approach.
Okay.
So can you just tell me the end of the question again? Maybe I don't know whether I've gone off the question, whatever you had asked.
I'm sure you're coming around to it because my concern is
uh,
which
Teaching method.
methods
Yes, yes.
are best suited in the
Okay,
teaching of life skills.
okay, fine. Yeah, so I would say now I would just divide it into two. Now, one, I would say, when in Rajiv Gandhi Institute there was a lot of, through training, we were able to take in life skills education. So in that mode, the experiential process of the pedagogy used, and the methods such as case studies, discussions, role plays, analysis, experience sharing, so, and through activities, those were used in order to translate this concept of life skills when we did the life skills training. But when you talk about the in education per se, as I told you, through the Central Board of Secondary Education, and when life skills was a component, though life skills is best suited through the experiential mode, the it is the pedagogy used is experiential method, but there was no time involved because the education system per se is highly loaded with academics. So the teachers were already loaded with whatever they had to do, so they did not have time to dwell into an experiential mode which takes a longer duration. So the actual experiential method in these education, when these classes actually started to decline, so that became a challenge. But in the higher education, for example, when we said that in through colleges, when it was taken as a training method, as a training mode, there, through experiential method, this life skills was able to be transacted to the individuals.
So the experiential approach involves issues to do with case studies, for example.
Yes, yes. See, the experiential method is you discuss on what the concept is. The person actually, we make the person travel through that skill. It's not like just telling, no, you should not drink, or you should not you should not accept favors from strangers. So through a case study again, so which is the best method to use in order to make that again the adolescent, and it is very age appropriate. All the content which is developed is age specific. So it was through that, and the method which would be best used to try to reach out to that adolescent and make that person travel through that particular skill is what we are aiming at. Even in the association, when we do training programs, we focus on how that individual is going to travel through that skill, so the person internalizes it. So in when we do the training program, when we were doing it in Rajiv Gandhi Institute also, and even when we are doing it on part of the Indian Association of Life Skills Education, when we do the programs, we tell the participants, just be in the present. You try to listen, you try to you just take it, whatever we are talking about, you try to internalize it. Only when only we are able to consciously practice it, then it becomes one with us, and that is when we show the behavior more number of times.
Okay.
So that is the experiential process which we try to guide them to actually practice it consciously, so that once they experience it through an activity or through a case study, or even watching movies, There's a lot of even movie reviews and how they are able to relate it and sharing from other participants. That brings a perspective to them, and then they are able to actually they say yes, it is true whatever you have said. So then they are able to actually kind of it sinks into them, and by the end of the program they feel more confident. So all these programs, immediately, I wouldn't say that immediately are going to show the positive behavior. It
No.
basically, it strengthens the self confidence in you. You are willing to come out of your comfort zone. You are able to feel that yes, I have the ability to reflect, to challenge myself, to ask questions to myself. I can take a decision. These are the certain techniques or strategies required to take proper decisions, and that guides them to try that further. Of course, with hand holding and support, they definitely they show behavior, positive behavior. There is they get even better grades in their schools. And lot and I mean there are a lot of research is done in that area between the results that they show in their academics and this life skills training.
Okay. Uh, where you have just ended on the issue of research, a lot of researches have been done on that area. Please
Yeah.
share with us any research that has been done.
uh, now could you just tell the question again, please?
I'm saying if you can talk about some of the researches that have been done around that area,
Okay. In the sense, in the area of academic achievement.
life skills.
Yeah, life skills, yes. So again, see, now life skills, uh, I would tell you, like from my journey from 2008. At that time, actually, when in Rajiv Gandhi Institute we held the first international conference of life skills education. That is the School of Life Skills Education held its first conference. And at that time there was very little research in India with related to life skills. And so there were a lot of people from other countries who were from the western countries and other places who were trying to actually throw focus in this subject. But I mean, being there from then till now, I can see the change, the sea change in the approach of people, the awareness in people that life skills is a new subject. It's a subject of the 21st century. And there's a lot of people trying to do research with life skills, with either enhancement of self esteem, self confidence, academic performance, trying to enhance life skills through music. And then there's also research which is done from with life skills and yoga, which is a practice. Yoga is again a practice which is more on an Indian concept, which is again trying to, it is a alignment of the body, mind and soul. So there again there is a lot of research which has been done, which there is a lot of commonalities between life skills and this practice of yoga, which actually strengthens the mind. It gives vision to whatever we wish to do, and as a physical trying to make us more strong physically as well. So I would say there are umpteen areas, or in which the areas in which life skills research has been done. It's difficult to just kind of say at the moment, but maybe I can share with you all always. I mean, on what are the key research areas which have been done with life skills.
Thank you. And they seem to be many.
Yes.
Uh, Now, one of the issues that has been of great concern is that as a teacher, what you have taught, you
Yes.
really need to be able to assess, or or to find out whatever it is that you have taught, have your learners mastered it? And so that brings me to the aspect of assessment in life skills education.
Yes.
So, how is the impact of life skills education measured?
Okay, that's a very pertinent question, Naom. And I would say, see, yeah, the life skills programs and policies, everything were going on. But when we look at the evaluation, there are a lot of challenges. Okay, now the challenges again. Now, what had happened is a lot of the major programs which were running with related to life skills had support from either UNICEF, which is the United Nations Children's
Education
Fund,
fund.
right? Yeah, yeah. So UNICEF had joined with the government and all the non-governmental organizations, and the lot of programs which have been, which have been initiated with this. Okay, so now when you look at it, now where there is no like there is one assessment or a one framework which people have to follow. So there is again, the you can understand that there is not that one method alone which one has to follow, or there is no proper framework at all for evaluation. Now evaluation has been done both qualitatively and quantitatively. Okay, so there are programs which they have done like a pre and a post analysis to evaluate the how life skills has enhanced. Now here I would like to mention that when I was working with Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, Dr. Radhakrishnan Nair had this vision of, yeah, he felt that we need an evaluation tool to measure life skills. And the need was there because, again, there was no proper formal tool, a psychometric tool to evaluate. So that was a major project which I was also a part of. So there was Dr. Radhakrishnan Nair, Dr. Subhashri, and myself, Sunita, who were in the group, apart from the other statisticians and a whole lot of people who contributed to the strengthening of this tool. So that was a 100-item tool, which a lot of people have used and are using this particular tool on life skills. And it is called the Life Skills Assessment Scale. If you do a Google, you will actually you can check it out. So this is a 100-item scale, and it is a psychometric test which was catered for adolescents. And yeah, it has been used even till today, and it continues to use. And apart from that, there are other organizations who also have come up with smaller tools. Like we have the National NIMHANS, which is the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, which is in Bangalore. Now they have also come up with their model of life skills. And for the teachers, they have developed a lot of modules and study materials, and even for assessment tools. And there are some other researchers who have also come up with 100-item tools and things like that. But the question is on the, okay, now any measurement, whatever assessment we do, we should we should know about the validity, the reliability, which is important for any tool. And since this particular tool had a lot of it had a high validity and reliability, it is used till today. Now, apart from this, which is only a pen and paper and a psychometric test, there is also, that you cannot measure life skills only by a pen and paper, right? Since it is a skill and it is a behavior and all that, what we are trying to say. So there are also semi-projective tests or evaluations which people have done. And even when the government had certain programs for schools in schools from smaller class, the teachers were asked to observe the children, what is the change in behavior that they had. So based on all these, so there was observational method, and there was pen and paper method, plus there were other tools which people have used, whether it's private organizations or through even through sports, they have used and tried to assess life skills. For example, a non-government organization that comes to my mind in this regard is Dream a Dream, which actually they focus on life skills for I think children who have faced adversities. So that they do through sports. So and through football, actually it's a game through football thing, and how they integrate this life skills into that kind of a thing. So there again they have their own scale which they use to measure these children with life skills. So there's a whole lot of there's a question mark when it comes to the relevance, the efficiency, the effectiveness, all these things. Yes, it is relevant, the efficiency is there, effectiveness is there, but this the I would say that the robust assessment is required to get a proper understanding.
Okay. Now, thank you so much for that answer, Sunita.
Yeah.
Uh, has there been challenges related to the assessment?
Yeah.
Challenges? Hello, Sunita, are you getting me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, you have said about the tools which are available in the assessment of life skills or in measuring the impact of life skills. Uh, are there any challenges besides the
You
issues of validity that you have highlighted?
If I get your question right, you have been asking whether there were challenges uh, in developing the tool or
In assessment, in using these tools for assessment?
assessment. No. Okay, now this tool, yes, it is a no, this tool, it's a 100 item scale. And the only thing is that because when we take it to certain children and adolescents, the 100 item scale, they kind of get fatigued by the end of it. Yes, but the this particular scale actually gives a very comprehensive, beautiful, outcome, in the sense it exactly evaluates in each of the skills, each of the 10 skills, where you stand. It gives a global score, and it also gives, in each skill where you stand, so that when we do this, is not this scale, we normally use it when we're doing a pre and a post analysis. So we find a lot of sea change in the adolescents, when the before, prior to this training program, and after it. And what is done is, after a period of say 3 months, again when we give this tool, we do find that yes, the skill still remains. So it is not that by the time we give the training, and after 1 or 2 months, the skill just goes off. So, but one thing what we have found out in life skills training is, an extended training is required in order to instill these skills in the children. So it should be a program where it is run throughout the academic year. If it's a total 1 year, yes, then you see lot of you see actually the life skill is instilled in the child, and then there is a conscious practice, there is a positive behavior, there's a change in the personality, or on the positive side. But if there are organizations who just come in and go and just do like a 1 hour program and things like that, but that is not effective. So the longer duration it is, the skill, because it's a skill, right? Each one's learning curve is different, and the more we practice it, it has to move into the competency. So the longer the period, I think that definitely there's a change in the competency of the children and the adolescents.
But when there is a long break, like the one that has been necessitated by COVID-19, then
Yes,
that affects the acquisition of that particular skill.
yes, yes.
As we are moving almost to the end, I told you we shall come back to the aspect of COVID-19, which I've just mentioned again.
Okay.
Uh, do you see a likelihood of life skills in education having a role to play in this epidemic?
Yes, very yes. Thank you. Now we are all, everybody's talking about the pandemic. Everybody's in this pandemic, and people are just trying how best they could, cope with it, deal with the situation. And for such, I would say that life skills education has a major role to play. And one more thing which comes to my mind, Naom, is that recently in India, it just maybe not even a month, yeah, a month ago, the new education policy for India was actually had come out by the government. So in the new education policy 2020, our honorable prime minister had said that the new education policy focuses on how to learn. Okay, so that is exactly what life skills is all about. So in because the previously so far again education has been like, it's not, you just give the information to the child and the child is learning, but we are not teaching them how to do it. So this is exactly where the role of life skills comes into the picture. And all the more now in this pandemic, people are finding that yes, life skills, because they are psychosocial in nature, they definitely have a role to play, because we are dealing with emotions, we are dealing with, I mean, all we are suddenly caught up with this new situation. It's totally new. Even see, it is a change in behavior for us as well. So
Sure.
initially when we were asked to wear mask, we were asked to do this washing of hands, etc., etc. It was not. Now maybe still consciously we have to practice it until some time. Even now sometimes I go out and I suddenly remember that I've not put the mask.
Yes.
So even
And
for
you have
an
to
adult,
go back for it.
yeah, exactly. So for us also, see, so how long? See, my thought is, it how long it takes for a behavior to actually change, consciously practice, and come into us as, as part of us. So definitely, life skills is here to be. The more I think we reflect upon it and understand that, it is part of us, it is actually us, and then how we are going to be a better individual, a more self knowledge, we explore ourselves more, and we become a strengthened person, a holistic development, I would say. So every time, wearing your glasses and looking into yourself, googling into you, would definitely help us to understand where we stand in life skills and give us that the strength to move forward.
That reminds me that I had my mask with me.
Okay.
I've
Okay.
only put it aside because in this particular pandemic, one needs the life
Mm.
skills to be able to adapt,
Yes.
flexible enough to be able to do what it takes to
Yes.
keep safe.
Yes.
And thank you for highlighting that. I cannot bring this conversation to a stop unless again I also talk about the issues of life skills in conflict, in situations of conflict.
Mm.
I'm saying this because when you read through the newspapers and sometimes when you Google, you,
Yes.
you there are incidents of conflict, territorial conflict, issues of religious conflict in
Yes.
India, just
Yes.
as it happens in other parts of the world. And I'm asking myself loudly, you know,
Yes.
could life skills also have a role to play in as far as conflict resolution is concerned? I
Yes.
was Googling just before I came to this conversation that India has had issues with their southern neighbors like Pakistan. There's been
Yes.
issues of Kashmir conflict
Yes.
and what have you. What is the place of life skills in solving
Conflict.
some of these conflicts?
Yes. Yes, Noam, that's a very pertinent question again. Your questions have been amazing. Like, you actually covered the whole gamut of things I feel in through your question. So
Thank
when we
you.
talk about, yes, conflict, again, there is, again, as you said, we have our internal conflicts, we have, larger conflicts, as you said, nationwide, neighboring nations. And you said, uh, when you have reviewed papers, we see India, Pakistan, the India now recently, I would say during this pandemic, we had India, China, the border conflict is there between the line of control. So, in all these things, so now if, for example, for this recently, when during this pandemic itself, this between India and China, the line of control, the conflict which happened, now definitely we are using our life skills in order to first of all gain perspectives. So that is when the skill of empathy, to understand the other person's perspective. Okay, to try to, and then your communication skills, trying to first put yourself in the other person's position, and then trying to see, from relevant information, data, whatever it is, what is right, what is wrong, and what can be the common ground. Okay, if two people are going to continue to fight, if we between, say, India and China, or India Pakistan, if we continue, then the fight just goes on, right? So coming to a common ground, and those are skills of negotiation. So all that come under your social and negotiation skills. And even see, when I talk about, even in India, we have certain states which have got a lot of conflicts. So in one of the during one of the conferences in 2015, when the Indian Association of Life Skills Education had its conference in Guwahati. It's in Assam, which is in the north of India. And see, now that place is somewhere where there are a lot of communal uh, clashes. And the youth there are very, there is a lot of unemployment. And the youth there are kind of very scared, so they don't have a focus on their career, because there are no career opportunities. Because once, from small itself, these youth are being, taken by these small groups, which take them for fighting and other things, which, and because of which, people from there go to other parts of the state in order to gain their career, or to build their career and live a life. So in those places specifically, when life skills is being done, when a life skills program or a training is being done, we would focus on the issues over there. So it would be problem specific issues. We would start with the issues, and then to combat with those issues, what are the priority of life skills which will be used. So for an adolescent, for the child, for the family, for the society, for the village, or whatever it is, and that is how that they will be sensitized. So there would be groups where, again, so it depends upon the magnitude. So before, whenever a training we go to at any place, we understand what are the cultural, what is, because we contextualize it, because it's not that one size fits all will not work out in life skills. So we try to understand the issues, the cultural context, what are the other factors, and then we kind of work on what is the design we could do, what would be the best methods which we would adopt. And even the language, we see to it, when we go, say, for somewhere in the north of India, where they speak a different language, from where I come is some other language. So we see to it that we take trainers who have that specific, who are natives from that language. And that is another reason why, when in the association, since we are pan India, we are spaced out, we have trainers all over India. And that is what we are trying to build, so that, if there is an issue, so that trainer would try to propagate or sensitize people in life skills in that particular area. So because everything is very contextualized, even a small village may have a total different problem. Even from where you come, maybe something is different from where totally I come.
Sure, sure.
So all these things, and I feel conflict resolution, all is part of life skills. And I'm sure that once we internalize and practice it, it is a skill, it is a competency, definitely.
Thank you. I ask that question, not that there is no conflict where I come from, because I stand reminded that even in my own country, there have been conflicts, especially brought about by political differences. And
Okay.
sometimes they have culminated in deaths, you know.
Mm.
And I stand reminded that in 2007, 2008, when we had such a conflict in Kenya, one of the things that came to save us was life skills, where villages were, could organize football games and call people from the diverse communities, so that as a way of national cohesion, as a way of healing. So in a nutshell, what you have said, and I agree with you, life skills is important in conflict resolution, and that's important. As we come to the close of this conversation, You have been in the area of life skills education for over a decade now. Now, what lessons have you learned that you can share and that can be copied elsewhere?
Okay. Yes. See, I would say like yes, learning is like an everyday. I would say that see, we are all in this lifelong learning, right? Which actually the to be a to be true to the sense of education, we just have to continue to learn. So lifelong education is one which again resonates with life skills education. So
Sure,
in
sure.
order you have to be you have to, that is one important point. So see, one thing which this has helped, this my journey through in life skills and continuing in it, I have met people from diverse areas, people who are actually working in specific areas, like you were talking about, say, gender. So I know a very close associate and friend of mine, Miss Padma. She works in this area of gender, and she does a whole lot of life skills programs for housewives, for lot of special population. Yeah. So interacting with her, and she has also worked a lot with theater. Through theater she has learned life skills through. So, and with the rural population as well. So interacting with her, I have gained perspectives of, oh my god, there is, there's the different modes and ways in which you can actually take life skills along with. And another, I'm another friend, a very close friend, and who's also the secretary of the association, is Dr. Gauri. Now she comes from a academic background, and she is a teacher educator. Now from her I have learned about the aspect of a teacher, the perspective of a teacher, the challenges a teacher is facing. Maybe not proper training or methods or assessment methods are actually being given to the teacher educator, because of which they are not able to take it across into the education system. And even from people from different cultures. Okay. And even from actually my mentor, Dr. Radhakrishnan Nair, and who was my head of the department, he has thrown so much of light with life skills. And I would say that each time we all discuss, that is when this whole concept of life skills further strengthens in me, and new perspectives which we could get ideas to take things forward. So when I think about taking things life skills forward, I would try to tap into maybe what are the new um, the new methodologies which we could adopt, because now we are only on a virtual platform. So
Sure.
that challenge of how we will we did do some programs in life skills. Now we, because I told you I was busy also, so
Yes.
we did do programs online. And then we sit and reflect on what are the challenges, because there is no experiential, there is no there is that feel is not there. But we try our best to try to reach out to that person. So again, I would feel that okay, we have a challenge with regarding to the methods which we have to go forward with, the assessments. Yes, so there is something which we have to come up with new methods of assessment, and a framework, I feel, a framework which has to be made, so that people who are working in this area would not go beyond that framework, and so it shouldn't get skewed off. So that is what I feel should be the focus as we go forward. And yes, and the challenge is, again, a challenge is okay as it comes. I mean, I'm a person who, I would say, as challenges come, we take it, then and there. So there's always a solution to a challenge. So based on that, what comes and what are the resources that are available. And best, another thing is networking does help in trying to overcome whatever challenge. So maybe on discussing with you Naom, I may understand, okay, maybe you're doing it in a particular way, so I would think, why not I try that in my place here. Yeah. So it's all about exchange. Again, coming back to all about adaptability, all
True.
about strengthening and bonding, and this very important thing of learning to know, learning to be, learning to do, and learning to live together, which are the four pillars of education, which have been stated in the Delors Commission report. Now that is the basis of our life skills. So I guess if we fall within that framework, keep that as the basis, or the as the framework, and then work within that, or uh, with our creative thinking, definitely we can go leaps and bounds in this area.
Learning to know, learning to be, learning to do, learning to live. It's amazing. It's amazing the much information that you have about life skills education, and that's what's coming out of this conversation. Just before we close, I looked through the Indian Association of Life Skills Education website again, and
Okay.
I saw their aim as igniting minds,
Yes.
unleashing the power, and empowering individuals to face challenges in life. As the vice
Yes.
president of the Indian Association of Life Skills Education, can you say this as the association has been able to realize this aim?
Yes, I would say, see, being a founder member, and I would say again, something very close to my heart, the association is. So, yes, as our aim is to ignite minds and, to unleash the power and, help the individual face challenges. As I told you, we are taking steps, and so we try to reach out. See, one is we are trying to create a platform where people come together, so we support people or institutions with regard to curriculum development, or module development, content development per se, and actually conducting training programs, master level training programs, and to beneficiaries, and also through research, also again through these conferences. And we have this journal in International Journal of Life Skills Education, which is a biannual journal, which we publish papers in the area of life skills education. So these are some of the vehicles through which we want to reach out to people. And I'm sure, like, see, being an association, see, we have not kept like, yes, I'm going to reach 1 million people by this, by that. Then it becomes like a kind of a pressure. Okay, so the concept here is for us to just be free, so that we are more creative and to be comfortable in our journey, but at the same time independently trying to touch each one's life. Even in my home, if I try to help somebody in my home, or maybe in my society, I have touched that person's life. Okay, so it is like each one touches one, and then the ripple effect happens. So we would continue this process of trying to reach out to people, and definitely we are igniting minds in whatever ways, through training, or through research, or through dissemination of this concept of life skills.
Amazing, amazing. As we come to the close, Sunita, what are your closing remarks? You've done a lot of work in life skills education. I'm sure there's something that you want our viewers to go home with.
Um, okay, I mean, I don't know what I can think of now as as the closing remarks, but see, one thing I would something like a wish, or something which is there in my mind with related to life skills, is that see, now, so in India, when we talk about education, it is come where there is a right to education. So we have a right to education act, and where everybody trying our best, like each state becomes literate, and there's a right to education. So similarly, my wish is, on the same grounds of having being exposed to life skills, so you have a right to understand. So your right to education and your the possibility of being aware of these life skills should go hand in hand. So what my focus is, so to that extent, the importance what they give to right of education, and when they define education, life skills education should also encompass in that definition of education. Okay, so that is when it becomes holistic. It is there in the when you look into the youth policies or you look into the world reports, everything it is there. But the actually when it comes to practice, I don't know, it may be diluted. So again, reinforcing that, and that would be maybe my closing remarks at this moment when you say, maybe this is my vision.
Thank you, Sunita. That was a great conversation. We are happy to have had you to take us through what life skills in education means, what you have done in that particular area, and what it can do, especially during these times that we are living. We hope to have another conversation another time in the future. Thank you so much, and goodbye.
Thank you so much, Naom, for the wonderful, lovely conversation that we had and shared. And thank you, Dr. Shaila, for this opportunity and and to be able to share and bond. I would say that much. And then thank you so much to Jaslika Consulting. Thank you and
Thank
bye
you.
bye.
Thank you, and bye.
Bye.